Hello Fantasy Faithfuls and welcome to Scheme Fit Season 3 Episode 5. Today I will be looking at Le'Veon Bell and the New York Jets. First, let's take a look at Bell from 2017. Bell has traditionally stayed inside the tight ends as much as possible, with only 12% of all his runs going outside. These are zones that correlates the most with fantasy points, so hopefully Gates calls some more plays there. Furthermore, he has tons of runs in the B gaps outside the guards, so this would be zones that will look for a match in. When he was carrying the ball in Pittsburgh, the outside runs, even if they were few, were his most productive in form of yards per carry, followed by the yards outside the tackles, straight up the middle, then lastly outside the guards. So the match outside the guard runs is not as much more calls, but rather less calls for runs like that, which in turn will lead to him doing more of what he does best. When it comes to catching passes, Bell is straight up amazing. He has over 80% in all short zones. If he had had these stats in 2018, only Christian McCaffrey would have been better. Not just that, but he also has above league average yards per catch in all zones. That middle zone is his most dangerous one, so this is where we would look for some synergy with play calling and Darnold's tendencies. Lastly, Bell is used to carry the ball 21.3 times a game in Pittsburgh and being targeted 7.2 times a game, so these numbers is what we want to be close to. Let us now focus on Sam Darnold for a second. Darnold targeted running backs 2.3 times per game in 2018, and this led to 506 total yards and 2 touchdowns in terms of fantasy points. That is 11th worst in the NFL. Darnold targeted running backs mostly to the outside zones and only 14% up the middle. Sure, Bell is great on the outside throws, but game breaking up the middle. Hopefully Gaze has a different trend here. The running back's yards per catch on these throws were really nothing to write home about. The right side had a bit higher yards per catch, while the left was abysmal. We now have to look at Gaze to further figure out how Bell will be used. Gaze has traditionally called running plays on 50% of first downs, 44 on second, and 17 on third. Running backs that have played under him has in the last 3 years finished 21st, 33rd, and 11th in fantasy scoring. The play calling has taken the running backs all over the field. If these were rushing patterns for just one running back, I would have been really interested. There are a ton of runs outside the ends, not a crazy amount straight up the middle, and each lane has over 10% of the carries. This is also what we wanted for Bell: less carries outside the guards and more outside the tackles and ends. However, in the passing game, we see the same trends as with Darnold. Almost no passes go over the middle. At least the right side of the field is very productive, but it's not a perfect match here. Far from it. Someone like James Conner got 39% of his passes over the middle last year. That would have been more suitable for Bell. I would like to take a second to remind you to hit that like button, leave a comment what you think about this video, and subscribe to the channel. I love every interaction I have with y'all, and every little bit helps me put out even more content. Before we look at the red zone trends, we have the offensive line. The Jets' offensive line ranked as the worst in the league in run blocking in 2018. The combined rushing effort of the team landed them as the 10th worst rushing team in the entire league. The run blocking was terrible in New York last year, all over it, but the Jets were really bad on gaining yards on inside runs. When they got their tight ends involved and bounced runs to the outside, their backs actually could gain a good bit of yards, while all other lanes are well below league average. So these outside runs will be key in 2019 if the Jets don't spend a first-round pick on a lineman. Lastly, let's break down their red zone trends. Le'Veon Bell had 70% of the Steelers' red zone carries in 2017 and 17% of the targets. Kenyon Drake had 47% of the Dolphins' red zone carries, while 82% of the Jets' red zone carries have left the franchise. Bell had only a 15% success rate carrying the ball and 6% success rate on red zone targets. You might think that is bad, but Crowell only had a 4% success rate on carries and Drake 7%. There is plenty of opportunity here for Bell to score touchdowns, but the offensive line in New York won't help him, and with Gates not having any major success with his main back in the red zone, there are some major red flags in the red zone. And as usual, with the conclusion, let's look at their synergies and their bad fits. The runs outside the left end, Bell is productive on these runs. It is the Jets' best run blocking lane, and Gase calls 11% of runs in this lane. Gase has tended to call more plays to different lanes, which will take runs away from the B-gap, Bell's worst lanes. Even Ajayi was a top 12 back with Gase as a coach, and there is plenty of missing carries in the red zone with the Jets letting guys go. For the bad fits, we have the offensive line as the main thing. Something has to be done in the draft or Bell will suffer. The passing game will take a step back, less passes to running backs, and both the quarterback and coach have not targeted the middle that much. I'm scared about the runs outside the left guard. Gase had 13% of his carries there, Bell 16%, and that is bad run blocking lane for the Jets, and Bell has not been productive here either. There's a lack of ability on the line, and Bell's success rate in the red zone is terrible. Add some bad red zone coaching, and touchdowns can go down by at least 2 compared to 2017. So to summarize, Bell will be alright in New York. I don't have him above someone like Elliott or Barkley, but I can see him as a top 7 back. The red zone and offensive line are my 2 biggest worries. So if the Jets come out of the draft with a stud lineman, I can see Bell taking that 6th spot on my rankings and really solidifying it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and check out csdfantasy.com for more offseason content than ever this year, and I'll see you again next week. Hello Fantasy Faithful, I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to check out more of them right here and here. In case you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a beat.